Honk.
That's what I'm talking about. What's going on, everybody? Welcome, Arvanauts. Welcome to a Tuesday stream. We are past the midway point of the month, and we are less than 24 hours away from toppling a dictator, or a would-be dictator. So it's good news. It's all good in the hood. I hope everyone's doing well and is looking forward to day 5 of Sorcery 3, Inkle, which is what I'm talking about right there. There we go. Day 3, what am I saying? Part 3, day 5 of part 3, Steve Jackson's Sorcery, the Seven Serpents. Very excited for this as always. I should note that for those of you who were tuning in expecting to see Adventures of Middle-earth, hello Frangelis and Echo. For those of you who were tuning in expecting to see Adventures of Middle-earth, unfortunately we had to reschedule because of a schedule conflict with the players. We're going to be trying to do this again next Tuesday. We're going to be playing next Tuesday Adventures of Middle-earth regardless. My hope is that we can have the full crew. I really did not want to start 2021 with any of my sessions without having the full crew there, just because it makes it easier to kind of set up for what's going to happen over the next calendar year, but that may be impossible, and I don't want us to miss a month. So if next Tuesday we don't have everybody, we're still going to play. We'll have at least 3, possibly 4, for next week, and it just happens to be we have a player or two that just have a lot of things going on right now, and as you folks know, IRL always has to take precedence, but by next month, everything should be settled out, according to everyone, and settled down, and we should be in good shape. But I'm hoping that we will get the full group next week, and if not, we'll definitely play anyway. So for today, we have got more of Steve Jackson's Sorcery, which is not a terrible consolation prize because I've been having a great time playing this game with all of you. Quick note on schedule. We've got this going on now. Then at 4 p.m. Eastern, we will be over on GOG with Pen and Pixels, and we will be playing D&D with GOG Storm King's Thunder. Yes, that is part of it. The Trendane's Power situation is part of this anyway. So in a way, it made sense to do it this way. It wasn't just him, Rudnell, but yeah, that is definitely a thing. So that should be back by next week. So I think we should be in good shape for that. But in any case, and I certainly know the feel of losing power for a long period of time. I know, right? No, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. I was thinking about this godforsaken thing that happened to me this past July where I was gone for a week. Ugh. But anyway, that is hopefully a distant memory now. So we've got D&D with GOG Storm King's Thunder today at 4 p.m. Eastern. Quick note that normally this is the Tuesday that we would be doing the Arvocalist tonight, but we are not doing that tonight because to accommodate Little Red Dot and her schedule, for the next couple of months, we're going to be doing this on a Thursday night. This is only a couple of month thing. Probably by around March or April, we'll be moving back to having these on Tuesdays. But we are going to be doing this on Thursday. So you're going to see some Thursday Arvocalist action this week. And that is going to be with some Paper Mario, the Origami King, that will be returning to you on Thursday night. But as far as schedule, we've got this. Then we've got D&D with GOG Storm King's Thunder at 4 p.m. Eastern over on GOG. And then on Wednesday, we have got Community D&D with the Shadow Crew. Then, as I said, Thursday, our vocalists. Friday, we have the Patreon-fueled Chat Chosen Game of the Month, about which more in a moment. And then on Saturday, we have got the premiere of Metroid Prime. I actually downloaded the Metroid Prime trilogy. I bought it, and I already own it and have played it multiple times. I love the Metroid Prime games, but I bought it and installed it so that I could play it via the Virtual Console on Wii U. And two things that were important. Number one, the AverMedia captures it way better than the Elgato HD60 ever did because it's a better card. And secondly, and really importantly, I'm really glad I didn't throw out or trade away my Wii remotes, my Wiimotes. Because, I had a Wii many years ago, I don't know, 10 years ago, something like that. But obviously I have not played on my Wii for a long time. And so I realized when they were looking at it, they're like, yeah, you need a Wiimote and a nunchuck to use this. To play this game because it's really only compatible with that because it uses motion controls. So thank goodness I didn't throw those out. I pulled them out and they still work fine, so I was able to play it. But it also means that I've got to play with my seat basically backed away from the sensor bar, because it's the only way that the thing picks it up properly. So it's going to be an interesting experience, but it does work well and it captures fine and all that. So that'll be what we're doing on Saturday. So that's the deal that we've got going on as far as this is concerned. Now, speaking of that, I'm unfollowing. Oh man, Dragon. Yeah, Dragon's been following what's been going on with StreamBot for a while. We'll get that sorted out. On the next game front, I do want to mention this up front, and I'll talk about it at the end as well. The final vote is going to close down at the end of the session today. Right now, we have got World of Goo in the lead over Growlancer 2 with a pretty substantial lead over Time Spinner. But get your votes in now, because after today, we will be closing that down, and I will be playing this game Friday evening, whether it is World of Goo, Growlancer 2, or Time Spinner. That is up to chat. But get your votes in now so you can find out about that. As far as the rest of the channel is concerned, you can, of course, always follow me, which is much appreciated here. Please continue to do that on the channel. Please make sure to check out our YouTube, !ArvTube, and please subscribe to me over on the YouTube channel. It's free for you to do that, but it really helps because I'm trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so please consider doing that. And you can see past broadcasts of this and other streams as well. Incidentally, those of you who have been looking for these in terms of a playlist, I have put Sorcery on my Sorcery playlist. I literally have a playlist dedicated to just these books with the Inkle series. So I had books 1 and 2 on there already, and I've just been able to... Normally what I do is I'll play through a game, and then I will create a playlist for it. This is what I did for Final Fantasy VII Remake, for instance. Hey, Marinda. And then I will put that into the Final Fantasy VII playlist once it's completed. Unless it's something that I know is going to be going on for usually a year plus, like the D&D stuff, in which case I'll do the playlist ahead of time. But for something like this, I made sure that I put both, I just am putting this right back into the next playlist. So yeah, so that's where these are going to go. So that's YouTube, !ArvTube. Our !ArvCord is our Discord channel. As you know, Discord is making some big, we made some big changes in the Discord server, and we're still working out a few of the kinks. That is Terry Toons and Elves department, and they've done a great job with this, but please excuse the mess, as they say, as we make a couple of changes regarding especially regarding the announcements as to when I go live. You will note that there is now a separate channel in the Discord just for announcements of when I'm going live. So if you have not done so already, that'll be the way that you'll be able to see that I'm going live if you're on the Discord server, not counting the Twitter, where I always try to post when I'm going live approximately, and of course your Twitch and email lists. So all of that is a big thing as well. Yeah, it's day... Wait, what do you mean? Yeah, it's day 5. Yeah, that's right. Yes, it's day 5. It's part 3 is the part 3 of Sorcery. That's just the image that I use. I guess I could try to find a different image if that's confusing, but yeah, it's part 3 of a 4-part series, a 4-book series, but it's day 5 of part 3, if that makes sense. Subsection 2. So yeah, anyway, Discord, please join over there. That is free as well. And of course, !Arv Tweets is my Twitter. And I also try to post things when I'm going live and, you know, about various other things going on as well. Website for that, arvaneleron.com. No, that's fine. !Arv, and that is website arvaneleron.com. On the financial side, !Arv Shop is my area where you can get stuff for Infinity and Beyond and Adventures in Middle-earth. Again, we'll have AIME back with you next week. So that's the deal with that. We have also got !Arv Treon is the Patreon, currently sitting at 21 patrons, $187 per month. You can get inspirations to help the players. You can also get lots of stuff for you, copy of one of my band's albums. You can get a epic character background written for you, an epic poem written about you. You can even get writing critiques at a high enough level. So you got all that kind of stuff. And then you've got that going on with the Patreon, plus the channel as a whole moves towards various channel goals. And we've got, of course, the website, the subscription, allowing you to get those custom sub badges and emotes. If you can subscribe to the channel, that is also appreciated. You can get inspirations there as well, depending on the tier at which you support. Finally, on the publishing side, Icarus for my Icarus graphic novel from Athos Arts. Again, very excited about this. More details and information coming there as well as we get more reviews of that and we get it out there. Library, as I've been saying all along, this is Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library. This is just a matter now of customs. This is a matter of getting the books out of customs. There's a huge backlog which came as a result of the pandemic, which came as a result of the U.S. not knowing how the hell to actually, coordinate, the richest country in the world, not able to coordinate actually responding to one of its greatest threats because stupid administration that will be out of here as of tomorrow. But in any case, so we've got that going on. But that means that there's a delay in the customs. And as soon as it's there, it's already been there for literally 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks now. So as soon as it's out of there, it will be sent off and shipped to all of those people who have been waiting so patiently for it. I do appreciate everyone who's been patient on waiting for the hardcovers. They're made, they're printed. If I could drive them to all of you individually, we would, but this is the way that things are. So as soon as they are released from customs, we'll get them. This is a little bit out of our hands at this point. It's up to when customs is able to release them. So we're getting there is basically the point about that. You can get it in the meantime, though, in digital form, as you have been able to for months, on Drive-Thru-RPG. And then exclamation point Greyshade KS is my Greyshade Kickstarter. Again, more details about this coming very, very soon. I am very excited for the potential for this. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, I know, right, Dragon? It's going to be awesome. I'm very excited to talk more about this. There's going to be so much going on with this Greyshade Kickstarter. It's going to be sweet. So that's going to be happening coming down the line. And last but certainly not least, exclamation point BLM, Black Lives Matter, which, again, never been more important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives in the society we live in today. That is very important. Resources that you can find at that link, and resources you can find on suicide prevention at exclamation point Help Now. That is the World Health Organization's page on suicide prevention as well. Having said all of that, I do want to make one other comment before we get started on playing today. So let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of that, and let me turn on that. There we go. Hi, everyone. It's a little too much. It's too much. Let me sum up. Let me adjust that slightly. It's too much light. That's better. A little more. A little less. Okay. Just need to make sure that I made that adjustment. So, Craigery. See, okay, now this is actually really good timing. So I do have to turn this on. That's too much. It's too much. Let me sum up. Okay. I do want to mention this. First of all, welcome, everybody. I do want to mention this because they call me Mr. Timing. Yeah, this is literally what it is. So Craigery was a big, big part of a huge event that just happened over the weekend to benefit, or to honor, really, Dialad. For those of you who didn't hear me talk about this, so Dialad is a person who's done some streaming on GOG.com and has been streaming a long time overall on Twitch. She's Canadian and is struggling with stage 4 breast cancer. It is in a very serious situation. She has a young daughter as well. And so the Craigery basically, I think, was the spearhead of this. And then Pyron Jade, of course, the GOG stream team coordinator, and a number of others got behind this as well, to have a fundraising event on GOG.com's Twitch channel to basically raise money to benefit, I believe it was a Quebec Cancer Foundation that would support research into this dreaded disease. And then later on, they ended up actually getting stuff for Dialad's daughter's birthday and cool stuff like that. So they don't call you Mr. Timing. Anyway, so they were responsible for doing this, and it was, I mean, listen, you folks know, having run charity events on this channel for a number of years under various guises, I know how much work that it takes to put one of these things together. This was super, super impressive. Like, not only did we end up with, they ended up raising $8,700. It was a $5,000 goal. They raised $8,700 to benefit this foundation. And the thing that was great about it is the fact that it was in such short notice. This came together in like 2 days. It usually takes me about a month to a month and a half, basically. I usually get started in April to get set for ARFCon. Part of that is that it's usually me and then the incredible mods who do, the bulk of the work for this. But as opposed to what we had there, where we had a lot of people working together. But Craigery deserves great, great credit for having drawn people together in such short notice. Pyron Jade deserves a lot of credit. And I want to give a little bit of a pop to the channel that I also stream on, as you folks know, GOG.com's Twitch channel, because they really came through. They basically gave the entire channel over to the fundraiser for the entire weekend. They had practically wall-to-wall streams. I participated on, I think it was Saturday, doing the trivia contest, and I ended up beating the previous champion. Fresh War, no big deal. Just Excuse me, just have a little itch. I have to pat myself on the... No, I'm just kidding. And then I was promptly taken down by Kilgore because of a question that I did not answer properly. But anyway, it was a lot of fun, and it was an honor to be part of it in any small way. And it was really great to see everyone coming together in this fashion to raise money. It was just another example of the community coming together. And I've said this before. So first of all, before I go away from this, congratulations to everybody who was involved. Dialad, I actually watched a little bit of her recorded stream that she did yesterday, thanking people. It was good to see her. She looked to be in decent spirits under given the circumstances. So that was great to see. But I also want to congratulate Craigery. There were a lot of people who did work, but it was Craigery who really kind of spearheaded this to begin with. And then, as I say, Pyron Jade really took the ball and ran with it. So thank you to both of them. I had to follow Fraswar out of pity. Fraswar is good people. So I wanted to, again, just like congratulate Craigery on doing this and good work. And I do want us to just note here, just for the record, how important it is to recognize what happens when we work together. Again, it is so easy to look at the things that are going wrong in the world and to look at the people that do bad things and to say, this is basically what human nature is. This is not actually borne out by evidence. And I want us to remember that when we have a tendency to say, well, 74 million people voted for a fascist. Yeah, but 81 million people voted against the fascist, and 81 million people are the ones who won and are going to get the fascist out of office. And that same thing applies to this situation here. There are a lot of problems that we have and a lot of, people that are bad actors, but there are a lot more people that aren't. And I want us to hold that in our hearts when we get cynical and think everything is a disaster. It's not always a disaster. And they deserve great, great credit for having done this amount of work to raise that kind of money, again, on short notice. I was sort of in awe that they could make that kind of money that fast. I just was staggering to me. So for those of you, and I know there were some of you in my community that contributed to this, thank you. The Arvanauts are the best. You all know I think that already. But thank you so much for being a part of this. I know a few of you directly who contributed. In fact, thank you. That was very generous of you and really makes a difference. And I know some of you whose names don't get brought up all the time, or if you do, I know the work that you do behind the scenes that doesn't get noticed, and I want you to know that I see you. And that work is really powerful. So thank you to that. And Craigery, again, thank you for stopping on board. Oh, dang! Echo Alpha with the tier 1 sub to Craigery. Thank you, Echo. That's very kind of you, dude. Thanks, man. Tier 1 sub to Craigery. Welcome, Craigery. Welcome here. Hopefully you'll enjoy being a part of this community as well if you get a chance to stop by. Thank you, Echo. That's very kind of you. Echo, of course, one of those community members that I've talked about who's very generous, not only to this channel, but to other things as well. He's been working on a spreadsheet that is basically going to have all the tabletop campaign stuff collected and stuff. So I appreciate that very much. So, but anyway, I just wanted to say that, not to be Pollyanna about it, but I get real tired of this argument that the cynical point of view is the more realistic point of view, because that's not borne out by reality. The truth is that there are good people and there are bad people, but there is a tendency to lean towards this belief that more people are bad than good, and that's not accurate. Hang in there and let us work together to make the good people be the ones who win the day, and to work to bring along the others as much as we can. That's the key. Sounds like office work, yeah. So that's the deal with that. Man, my camera. I'm so happy with this camera, by the way. I've been so pleased with how well this thing is working. It is nice to see that. So I am very happy that the look, that it feels good. I'm very excited about it. So anyway, sorcery time. Let's get into some play, and then we'll be over on GOG at 4 p.m., but let's get working on it. You like the POV from above? Well, it could get zoomed out. Yeah, I don't know why it's looking... I think I know why. Because I have it on this tripod. Okay. I have it on this tripod, and there's, like, no room. There we go. It's a little bit more like that. Do I need a bit of alone time? No, I'm good. Thanks. I think the deal is that the tripod... It's like I'm so much looking when we're at the new place, I won't have to worry about this. But right now the tripod is literally like on the back of the desk, and the handle to the tripod, which I could take off theoretically, but it's right there. Like it's literally like push it, like there's like a centimeter of room against the wall. So it's very hard without this being, because the desk is flush against the wall, obviously. And it's very difficult to keep it where it's not going to sort of bang into things or whatever. But anyway, I am very pleased with it. And let's get into the game. Let's make it happen. Okay. And I do indeed have RBot functional. Okay. Here we are. Zoom in. Why do I not have sound? Oh. That's why. Because it was down to 25 and I'm in the middle of nowhere. Okay. There's the wind. I hear it. We can catch up. Good. Cool. Alrighty. Good. Delete. There's that. All right, good. Set. All right, so looks like a nice cozy space. That's right, my awful neighbor. In where we are right now. Yeah, it is, although it's not going to be, it's cozy is the word for it, Gregory. I'm actually going to be moving in the next couple of months. We've been in this place for 10 years. In fact, I've been streaming here. The only time I've streamed on Twitch has been from this exact location, except when I'm on the road traveling or something like that, and I'm streaming on the road. But in terms of my home base, this has been my home base for a decade. And so for a change, I'm going to have a little more room, which I'm looking forward to. The place that we're moving to, if all goes well, knock on wood, is going to have, I'm basically going to have 3 times the amount of space I have now for my office, which means that I'll have a place to put books. I'll actually be able to put games behind it, not just, you know, the rest of my office. And if there's any remote teaching in my future because of the pandemic in the fall, for example, or if there's any, you know, stuff like that, in addition, of course, to streaming, it'll be nice to have an actual space. So it'll be a lot. I'll have a lot more room. I'm not going to say I don't know what to do with it, because I know exactly what to do with it, but I'm looking forward to actually having that space when I get there. Okay, for those of you who have not played this game before, the way that we do this here is pretty simple. We actually get a chance to work together on this game through the use of something which we call RVBot. And you can see that on the bottom left of your screen there, what I just moved into position. I'm going to be asking, as we go through this game, I'm going to be asking various questions, and then chat will be voting and making the overwhelming majority of decisions. There are a couple of decisions here and there. There's only once or twice that there's a decision. Yeah, I'm so sorry about that, Echo, but I guess the Stoics' comment to all of that is always, this too shall pass, which I guess can be very comforting in the sense that eventually that will pass. Vote together, vote suicide. No, the chat's been okay. We've managed so far-ish, Miranda. So anyway, we're moving across this landscape, and on most of the decisions, chat will be making the decision by voting in RVBot, and I'll talk about how to do that when we get there. Right now, we are in the middle of book 3 of a 4-book series. We are trying to recover the Crown of Kings from the Archmage of Mampang, who stole it from us, stole it from Annalander for life, stole it from us, and we need to get it back. And so we have been sent across the land on this great quest to be able to do that. So far, everything's been going okay, except in the 7 Serpents, we discovered, which is this book here, we discovered that there are 7 serpents, the Archmage's servants, who are trying to, A, stop us from getting to him, and B, get to the Archmage to warn him that we're on the way to basically get back the Crown of Kings, and so basically trying to warn him that we're on our way. So we've got to try to stop him, and stop those serpents before they can get to him if we can. And so the scenario that we're in right now is we know what 5 of the 7 serpents are. We also know what all those 5 that we know, what their weaknesses are as well. We don't know 2 of them, so we know 5 of them. There are 2 that we don't know. We also only know the location of one of the serpents, and that one is up here, the moon serpent. That one we know is up there, but that's the only location that we know. All the other serpents we have not yet been able to track down. In addition to that, we spent much of our last session trading and getting a bunch of stuff done, and then getting ambushed by a group of dark elves, black elves, I think, but basically the equivalent of like Drow in D&D, dark elves, who it turned out were servants of the Archmage, or at least not enemies of his. We managed to pray to our god Korga. Korga is over here. We managed to pray to our god Korga, who did indeed release us, but not until we had dropped to 4 out of 18 stamina. So we have got 4 out of 18 stamina, which is health. We need to get that fixed. We've eaten our ration for the day, fortunately, so we don't need to eat again today, but we are going to need to build up our stamina somehow. We've got 9 gold, so we're doing okay on that score. We have a number of great items. We've got a number of good things working on our behalf, but the stamina situation is not great, and so we got to figure out a way to deal with that. The only thing that we could do theoretically to help us is, if you take a look at this. Okay. The only thing that we have that could theoretically work in our favor is, let me take a look here. We have a thing called a Blimberry juice, which basically would restore 4 points of stamina. The problem, though, is that Blimberry juice is used for a spell called Dock, which is designed to cure disease. It also happens to be the counterspell to a spell called Hot, which is basically Fireball. So if something is used to attack us, like a fireball, we could use Dock to counter that spell. But we can't do that if we don't have any Blimberry juice. So the chat decided in our last session that we were not going to drink the Blimberry juice despite our rather dire stamina situation. We're going to try to be careful as we cross the landscape, try to prioritize healing when we can, and obviously try to see if we can find some other food as well. So that's the scenario that we find ourselves facing. So with that said, we now have a decision to make. We came from over here. So we came from this area, north, west, and south. So we have southeast that we could go to. So we're not going to go back that way. So we could either basically go, we're not going to go back north because we just came from there. We're not going to go west, we came from there. South, we came from there originally. So we're either going to go southeast or east. So for your first vote of the day, chat, what I'd like you to tell me is, which way should we go? Should we go southeast down here, or should we go east? Now remember, as far as where we're trying to go, eventually we're trying to get there, but we're going to have to do that through multiple avenues and switchbacks and things like that. And to do it, we're going to have to be able to switch back on multiple occasions by going to sometimes places to kind of bring us to the past. So you can see that, for example, here there is a bridge that at one time, unless I'm reading this improperly, at one time this bridge crossed over this landscape, crossed over the forest. It does not do that anymore because the land has been destroyed by some cataclysm, by some curse. There is a way to fix that, though. If we can activate these are known as beacons, we call them telescopes, and they can basically turn the land back to the way that it was. So if we could get here, we could activate the telescope, which would cause it to shine on this bridge, and then we could get across the bridge. The problem is that we have to go there to get there, and I don't entirely know how to get up there. I mean, I guess we could go all the way back down here and then cross over the mountains into these things, the Claddaback Steps, because there's a telescope here also. I guess we could do that. So I think at the moment, I think what chat was basically figuring was we go and take out the Moon Serpent, and then we figure out what we do next, I think is basically what we thought about. So, oh yeah, Sham. And the last thing is our boy, the Sham, or I should say our woman, the Sham. This thing called the Sleepless Ram, we have no idea what this is. But it says, for sleeping of the sleepless ram, seek the one they call the Sham. And we found out at the camp that we were just at, that the Sham's real name is Dentainta of the Slopes, and she usually travels disguised as a gnome. So once we find Dentainta, then we'll be able to, find the Sham. So I guess you could make an argument, if these are the slopes, I don't know if they are, but we could go east and try to find her there, or we could go here, southeast, which would allow us to pick up on this path and then go up into the mountains. So that's basically the idea. So either east or southeast. I can. It would be pretty wild, Echo. Yeah, I can. East or southeast. So east into the hills, maybe we go find the sham here. Or maybe, you know, the other thing is maybe this leads us up eventually, because it looks like this path here also may lead up to the Moon Serpent. So we could also go east and then around, basically, to bring us to the Moon Serpent as well. So that's your decision. So do we go southeast or do we go east? My point is that I don't think southeast is the only way to get up there. Southeast looks like it leads to this path, but then east also would get us closer to here, and this also looks like we could go up there. And so maybe these slopes are where we find the sham. I have no idea. It's up to you. Okay, east. So Echo says east. So tell me in chat. We're not going to do this as part of ARVBot. Do you want to go east? Do you want to go southeast? And now that I've explained all of it, I don't have to talk so much. Okay, we've got east. Gregory says southeast. So I got 2 for east, southeast. We do have the Serpent's weakness. Yes, we do know. Well, we know the Serpent's weakness anyway. The Moon Serpent's weakness is deathly afraid of fire. So we do know its weakness, yes. So we have, let's see, east. So 2 for east, 1 for southeast. 2 for east, 2 for southeast. 3 for east, 3 for southeast. Okay, so we have 3 for east, 3 for southeast. Three for east, 3 for southeast. Oh, that's cool. I just got my class evaluations for this past semester, and they were real. Wow. Well, I'm really glad to see that. So I'm going to share this with you, not because I'm going to pat myself in the back, because this is all anonymized. I'm going to share this with you only because this is, again, demonstrative of what I was talking about. So we have a system where there's a scale, basically like 1 to 5, and it counts on various categories. And then there are also written comments, which the students gave. And so the Revenge Tragedy class that they just sent me was 4.8 out of 5, because this is the first time I've ever taught remotely for an entire semester. I didn't know how it was going to work out. And the comment was, one of the best professors I've ever had. The work is a lot and the course moves pretty quickly, but it's so fascinating to the point where I don't care. Reading plays could be pretty tedious, but he makes it a super fun ride. Don't worry if you may not understand something, because the lectures help you considerably. Everything he did is the right way to do it. Aw. That's sweet. That's nice. That makes me feel good. Every so often, what's up, Pilness? That makes me feel good. There's I have other ones, other classes they're going to be sending me, which I'll do later on, but that's sweet. You know, it's like I use the class evaluations for feedback in terms of what I do in following semesters or whatever. But since this was a whole new world for me, like I taught in the spring, I taught the second half of the semester remotely, but that was obviously an emergency situation. This is the first time where we had to teach the whole thing remotely, and it's not. I mean, I didn't sign up to do that, right? I signed up to teach in a classroom face-to-face with students. But it's nice that it worked out this way too. So, yeah, that's cool. I'm glad. First, 110,000 for the first edition of Lord of the Rings seems excessive. Depends on what you mean, excessive for Magic. Okay, let's see. Southeast, southeast. Okay, so it seems like southeast, southeast. Okay, so Rudenell, so we're going southeast. Okay. We are going to go southeast. Let's do it. You walk on along across the plain. Whoops, I didn't see that at all. You walk on across the plain until you join a road. Okay, I didn't see what that said. I'm sorry, I clicked off. But this is the basic idea. So we're going east. This is the way that we wanted to go. You begin to make your way up the mountainside. The sun is hot now. From the middle distance, a curious sound reaches your ears. Okay, now I am always told by chat that to speed things up a little bit, I always... Oh, did you clip that? Oh, thanks, Echo. I don't mean to... I hope people understand. That's not me being like, oh, check me out. It's just a nice feeling because sometimes you often feel that you're on an island as a professor where you don't know how things are going across no matter how much you ask students. And it's difficult when the students are obviously in your classes, right? Because, you know, in your classrooms, they're not going to tell you, most of them, like, well, I think you suck, right? Because obviously that would seem dangerous for those. And so this was all anonymous feedback. And so that was why it was nice to kind of get that. Same thing with authors. If you read a book that you like, please leave them a positive review. We spend most of our lives like making adjustments based on criticism, and it's nice every so often to get, I really liked this. So that was cool. Exactly, Rudinell. Yeah, thanks, man. Exactly. You understood it exactly. Yeah. Okay, so normally what we do in this situation is I would ask chat, but I'm always supposed to stop and listen or look if I can do that, unless it's like look or face death. So I'm going to stop and listen here. Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. Stop and listen. You stop and listen. The sound is some kind of screech, quiet but close at hand. But the mountainside is barren and there is nothing that could be causing the sound. Aha, our first Arvbot vote. So, what should we do? We can either go closer, race downhill, or we can cast one of the Fong spells. This is reminding me of a setup for one of my short stories, actually. All right, here are the spells we could cast. I remind everyone we're low on stamina, so we need to be careful if there is a spell that requires stamina. We could cast Magic. That would protect us from magic at the cost of 1 stamina. We could cast... We could cause depression. So we could do that. That also costs a stamina. I bet this is sus. Yep. We could cast sus, which allows us to sense danger. Aw, Echo. Sap, sus. We could grow in size. I just spelled that bib. We could cast bib. We could give ourselves a bib, everybody. Alright, we could do that. And then we could also cast... Or we could float in the air. Okay, a lot of different choices, and really a lot of this is dependent on what you think this actually is. So here's what we have as choices. Yeah, exactly. So what should we do? Should we go closer? And this one, to vote in Arvbot, for those of you new, you type in $vote, space, and then the number of the choice that you want. So if you want to go closer, you would go $vote, all one word, space, and then the number 1. Or $vote, space 2 to race downhill, etc. So do you want to go closer? Do you want to race downhill? Do you want to cast Mage, which is protection against magic? Cast Sap, which creates depression. I don't entirely know why we would do that, but I guess before we know what this is. Cast Sus, which is sense danger. Cast Big, which causes us to grow big. Or cast Fall, which allows us to float in the air. What do you want to cast? And reminder, any of those spells is going to cost us a stamina. We only have 4. So we can cast it without dying, and we may have to. Like, you don't want to avoid casting something because of the fear of losing damage, and then you do something which causes you to die. So if you think you need to cast a spell, cast it. Just be aware that it is a stamina point that's available. So, yeah, what Echo just said. So let me get these votes. What are we going to do, chat? Go closer, race downhill, cast a spell. I was thinking that it might be like a boulder or something rolling down the hill, except that doesn't make a screeching sound, and it doesn't seem to be getting louder. So that's what makes me think it's not that. Thought it was maybe an Indiana Jones moment. Man. I like these glasses insofar as I'm forced to wear glasses at all. I like these glasses, but they are dust magnets. I'll tell you what, they collect dust. I go through these. These aren't really microfiber. They're softer than that, but I go through these like nobody's business. And they never come out of the laundry, incidentally. Like, I put these in. I probably put in, like, if I put 10 of these into the laundry in a month, I maybe get 2 of them back. I don't know where the hell they disappear to. They're worse than socks. I feel like you don't use stem. It's probably just the wind. Yeah, it's probably fine. Screech! It's the screeching wind. What could go wrong, right? All right, I'm going to last call this now. So we have a tie at the moment. 2 for go closer, 2 for cast sus or cast bigger, 1 for fall. Incidentally, what Craigery just did is always a good thing to do. You can always explain why you're voting the way you are. And if chat finds it convincing, you can always change your vote by doing what Echo just said, like he just did. $ change vote space and then the number. So you can always do that until the vote is closed. Maybe it's a tiny baby bird. A tiny baby bird for a rock. So it's a tiny baby bird that is the size of a horse. I'm sure it's fine. All right, going once, going twice. All right, the will of chat is that we go closer. You stride forward toward the noise. Then something appears that makes you hold your pace. Hanging in midair are a pair of disembodied eyes staring right at you. Okay, this one I can't just look because it depends. So this one you can tell me in chat. I only use the ARVBot if there's more than 2 choices. If there are 2 choices, I just ask in chat. So, do we stare back or do we look around? Right, exactly. Basically, that's what I was thinking, Trip. I was thinking that exact thing, Triffid. So do we stare back? So is that you saying stare back? Am I going to guess that that emote means stare back? Stare back or look around, basically. That's your vote. Oh, your vote is to stare back? Okay. So then I'm going to assume that's 3 for stare. It's 3 for stare, 0 for look around. Assess the situation, look around. Okay. 3 for stare, 1 for look around. 3 for stare, 1 for look around. Yeah, I got you, Trippin. I figured that's what that was. Which way is look around? That's good. That's good. That works. 3 for stare, 1 for look around. 3 for stare, 1 for look around. Get us hypnotized. Like, maybe we're the disembodied ones, right? Maybe the creature's like, you see a disembodied adventurer, and we're like, drama. Okay, I'm going to last call this. All right, 3 for stare, 1 for look around. Going once. Going twice. And... all right, we're going to stare back. You stare back at the eyes. There is something behind them, some kind of thought or intelligence, and the more you stare, the more you understand. The screeching noise is very loud. Whatever is causing it must be very close at hand. Now again, this is a situation where normally I would just listen because I'm gathering more information, and I would do that without asking chat. But in this case, these choices may have a material effect on whether we can do other choices. So, should we listen? Should we shake our heads? Should we say, show yourself. Or draw our swords. What should we do? A traumatic hamster. There is actually, I noticed there's this YouTube tutorial on doing this. Like basically press the button to do the zoom in. And maybe when I get my Stream Deck a little bit more accessible here so that I don't have to like reach over things to get to it, I might do something like that. That might be funny. Woo, 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 woo. There is, sadly, that is not there. Unfortunately, Arudinel, that clearly superior response is not there. Much as it obviously should be. Oh, Chad is not sure on this one. Do we listen? Do we shake our heads? Do we show yourself? Do we draw our swords? If this were a video game, the answer would be randomly, like a third-person action video game, the answer would be randomly flip back for no reason. Just somersault back. Well, it's just like... Yeah, all four in that order. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether listen is going to mean that we don't get the others. This is why I didn't just do that. Because normally I would just do it to kind of give us more information. But this is a situation where it's possible, I don't know, but it seems like listening could close off the other options, as would any of the others. So I don't know. Oh, cool. Snow outside. We got some snow going on. Hold on a second. Okay, this is my old webcam, but I don't know if you can see it. You might be able to. Can you see the snow? Just starting to flurry. Just a little bit. I need to set that up so that that's the actual shot. Okay. Well, for you, Echo, I know that's no big deal. You got some snow in Central Texas? Yeah, you know, it's funny, Craigery. I often forget. I mean, I live in a big state myself. New York State is a big state. But I often forget that, like, I hear sometimes snow in Texas, and I'm like, wow. And then I'm like, Texas is so freaking big that northern Texas, it's not that surprising that it would get snow, even Central Texas, right? It's more when you get to, like, southern, like, the southern tip right against Mexico, that I guess it seems more unusual. But for some reason, I'm always like, oh, Texas. And I'm thinking that it's like, you got snow in Miami or something, and it's not. I mean, like, if you know, the Florida South is different than the Texas South, obviously, or the because of the size of the state. So every other year, yeah. All right, I'm gonna last call this. I need some people. I need some more votes, people. Do we listen? Do we shake our heads? Do we show yourself, or do we draw our swords? I need some more votes. I've only ever been in. I mean, I was in the Dallas airport for like an hour on a layover, but the only real time I've ever been in Texas is when I was in San Antonio for Worldcon, which was, God, that was probably 5 or 6 years ago, I want to say. I'd have to look. But yeah, San Antonio, and it was hot. We were there in August. It was like 105. It was real hot. So, hey, what's up, TNS from Fiston? Thank you, thank you. Oh, nice. I didn't know you went to college in San Antonio, Triffid. Where did you go? All right. We actually, Little Arv and I actually have in our, I have an old Honda CRV, And when we hang out on Fridays, my daughter and I going out on like various little adventures or whatever, we actually bought a like we wanted to go sledding. This is last year. We wanted to go sledding and we were out, so I didn't want to run all the way back to the house to go get the sleds. So we went into Target and we bought literally cafeteria tray sleds. Like that's what they were. And they're basically just trays. They were essentially like emergency sleds that we still keep in the back just in case. It's a dry heat. Yeah, it's quite nice, yeah. Trinity University, very cool. Yeah, well, as Gary Shandling said, though, it's a dry heat, but so is a blowtorch, and I don't want that run around my body. Sort of worked. No one was injured. Well, I mean, did it work if no one was injured? I mean, do we know? Okay. All right, we're going to say show yourself. Show yourself, you cry. But there is still nothing, just the hovering, glowing eyes. The pitch of the noise begins to rise and begins to merge with a shimmering in the air. The sound becomes a high-pitched, mocking laugh. All right. I feel like this situation is escalating, chat. Do we keep watching? Draw our swords, or turn and run? Yeah, this seems less good. What do we do, chat? Keep watching, draw our swords, or turn and run? It's a good thing, by the way, that chat operates as a group. Can you imagine if there's like the whole group of there's like 20 people on the mountainside and like 5 people run and like 6 people are like staring and like 7 other people are like drawing swords and a couple people are just jumping off cliffs? Like it would be a oh man. So we need the music echo. Griffin death. All right. Of course, the problem is I said that, and now everyone's like, that's right, we are Geralt. We could take on anything, you know. This is fine. Just throw up some Axii, and was it Erden is the sign, right? We'll just put down an Erden. They'll turn visible. All right. Close poll. You draw your sword expecting attack. Well, this looks bad. A fearful shape begins to form, a dark-cowled creature with a skull-like head. Well, crap. Not gonna lie, this seems bad, chat. It beckons with a single bony finger. Okay. So... all right. Do we approach? Do we run for cover in the rocks? Or got hit by chatbot? Or do we cast a spell? Let's see what we got. All right, we could cast... So Mage, again, is protection from magic. Do that. We could cast... Walk is a shield, which requires 1 stamina and 1 gold piece, and we do have both. Cast Walk. Also, it allows us to fry up some delicious stir fry. We could cast... We do not have Fixedness. We don't have a Staff of Oak Sapling, so we can't cast that. We could cast... We could cast Rap, which lets us talk all languages. That doesn't cost us any stamina. We could do that. We could try to turn it to stone, which requires stone dust, and we do have that. Oops, sorry. Wrong button. Oh my god, did it... See, I never see what the automod does because Chatty doesn't pick up on that. So, sorry whoever got muted improperly. Well, we don't have fix. We already talked about that. We could cast... Oh my gosh, there's a lot of stuff we could cast. I've got to double some of these up. Because otherwise, I am never going to get enough room. So we've got that. We could cast... It's in my wallet. Okay. Cast Sus. This is Sense Danger, which I feel like is a little unnecessary. Because, like, I think we're in danger. You know? Like, I feel like I don't need a magic spell to tell me that this is not a good spot. Okay, so we've got cast Sus, and I think there's one other one. Cast... Oh, I already did that. Isn't there an N? Yeah, there is an N. Oh, Nap, but we can't do that because we don't have that spell. Okay. So I think I actually could have avoided that last one. Sorry, folks. A lot of spells on this one. Yeah, I don't like having to double them up because I like being able to know based on the decision that we have. All right, so do we approach? Do we run for cover in the rocks? Do we cast Mage, which is a magic protection spell? Or do we cast Walk, which is a shield, not against magic, but other stuff? Do we cast Rap, which either of those cost 1 stamina, by the way. Do we cast Rap, which lets us talk all languages? Doesn't cost us stamina. Do we cast Rock, which lets us turn things to stone? Doesn't cause any stamina. Or do we cast Sus, which suspects danger, which costs stamina? Though it seems like I already know the answer to that. I feel like we can be pretty confident that this is dangerous. Also, I want to take a look quickly here. The Moon Serpent is waiting for us, but... I mean, it could be the Moon Serpent, but it's not a serpent, so also I don't think we're there. Yeah, so what's it going to be? Vote 3:1. Oh, that's a good way to do it, actually, Craigery. That's a good way to do it. Yeah, vote 3:1. So 3, and you want to cast Mage. That makes sense. No, but assuming that's what you mean, though. If you overthought it. Yeah, if you cast, if you vote for 3, Mage or Walk, just tell me in chat whether you're voting for Mage or for Walk. It was Mage, okay. So I have 1 vote for Run for Cover in the Rock and 2 for Mage or Walk. So I need more votes here. Jump on board, people. Let us jump on board. All right, Leoric votes. Welcome, Leoric. Votes 3. And are you talking Mage? And Arudinal is also talking Mage. Are you talking protection against magic? Okay. Yeah, I think that this is probably the way I would go too, because I feel like this is setting up for Zap, is what I think is probably going to happen, but I don't know. This whole scenario is bad. The problem is our stamina loss is just so low that we just don't have a lot of stuff to maneuver. We don't have a lot of room to maneuver, basically. Like, if I get into a fight with this thing, I basically can't lose any stamina. It is hard to fight a perfect fight. The good thing is that you can always rewind, so you can always jump back to earlier without penalty. The game encourages you to do that. So, but I try to avoid doing that except in cases of death, because, or if there was something which was not clearly stated in the text, then I might do it, but otherwise I try to avoid rewinding unless we're in that scenario. Yeah, exactly, Rudnall, yeah. I don't like the way he's liching at us. I am the ghost of Christmas future. And your worst nightmare. Bah. Okay. It would be casting Finger of Death. Right, right. It would be bad. I think we can all agree with that. It would be bad. All right, I'm going to last call this. Ooh, I like that shield. And okay, we're casting Madge. Here we go. M-A-G cast. You weave the constellations into a pattern around you, and a veil of magical protection shimmers into place around you. In response, the shimmering haze reappears, engulfing the Death Wraith. The creature is being transformed, and a moment later, a different shape stands in front of you. It is a balding man. "Enough!" he cries. "Let me be! I meant you no harm!" The hell are you talking about? Is this like Visidi? Inconceivable. What? What the flip? So do we say, this you could tell me in chat, do we say, who are you, or what is the meaning of this? So some dude is trying to make illusions about us, basically. It's the Wizard of Oz, yeah. Who are you, or what is the meaning of this? So I have 2 votes for who so far. You could just tell me this in chat. Who are you? Who the F are you? What is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this? All right, so we have 2 for who and 2 for what is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this? Immediately give us a potion that restores all our health. Yep, I think that's what happens. I think basically he was like, oh crap, this guy's a real... He saw that we were injured, right? He's like, these will be easy targets. And then we're like... And he's just like... Who is the master? Show enough. What is the meaning of this? I actually like the idea that that's the exact look, Triffid, that we give him too. Just like the classic... Yeah. Tom's thing. Or my other favorite is that one, the, you know. All right, so we have who are you, we have what is the meaning of this, what is the meaning of this, what is the meaning of this, what is the meaning? Okay, sounds like we're on what is the meaning of this, so we're going to go with that. What is the meaning of this, you demand? The creature does not take his arms from over his head. Leave Renfren alone. He never does any harm. Just a little merriment, that's all. Behind you, the apparition has vanished. A mere illusion. All right, what are we going to do with this clown? Do we... threaten him? Do we say, I mean you no harm? Or do we say, how did you learn... this chin? Or give us all your stuff, clown. No, I'm just kidding. That one's not an option. Threaten him, I mean you no harm, or how did you learn this illusion? Right? Well, that's what I want to do. I want to be like, give us food right now. I will teach you a spell to give you full healing. I am so sorry that I did this to you. Here, have information on all 7 serpents, my instant win card. I have a gift card to Chipotle's. Just take this instead. Perhaps a freshly baked cinnamon bun? I'm just thinking of things that would make me get less angry at the guy. I feel like that's one of them. If he was just like, how about a freshly baked cinnamon bun? I would be less angry. And then if he was like, with raisins, then I would strike him down where he stood. Then I'd be like, ah. It's a sweet roll. Yeah. Sweet roll. Exactly. I used to be an adventurer like you, but then I took an arrow to the... All right. Going once. Then I took raisins to the face. Twice. Okay. How did you learn this illusion? You demand. From a traveler, he replies, still bowing and scraping the ground as he talks. She traded me a bracelet of bone for some food. She was starving to death. This sounds familiar. Trying to get to Mampang, she said, but I don't think she was going to make it. She was so hungry. She showed me how it was done. Okay. Interesting. Some random woman, huh? So, what should we do? Do we say, where is this woman now? Do we threaten him? Or do we say, I mean you no harm? Yeah, like they'd seen that all the time, right, Hilness? So what do we do? Do we say, where is this woman now? Do we threaten him, or do we say, I mean you no harm? Where is this woman now? Where's Rachel? Swear to me. Also give me food because I'm starving. Like her. I mean I'm better than her, but I am still starving. I need mostly health. Actually, I'm not starving. I ate today, but I'm out of rations. But most importantly, I need health. Better to know and gather knowledge for asking pertinent questions. We kill and eat him when we're done asking questions. That's true. It doesn't specify, like, he just says he's a balding man. He doesn't specify others, you know? Oh, that raid from Wenchkin. Thank you, Wenchkin. Welcome, Raiders. Thanks, Wenchkin. How you doing, my dude? Welcome, welcome. It is good to see you. What's up, Wenchkin? Wenchkin, sadly, is on the other side of the world from me, which means that we are often streaming opposite each other, and therefore I don't see as much of Wenchkin streams as I'd like to, but he's a really good dude. He's played D&D with me multiple times, and I hope to do more of that down the line. So thanks for the raid. I appreciate it, dude. Welcome in. And hopefully everyone's doing well. If you aren't doing so, you should follow Wenchkin. A, because Wenchkin's a good guy who plays some interesting games and is a fun streamer. But B, because Wenchkin is Australian. And that means that you get an awesome accent whenever you're listening. So, these are positive things. All right, we're going to last call this. Yeah, thanks, Winchkin. I appreciate it, man. He's quite the diplomat. That's true. That is very true. Yep. Agree. What did you play? Last time, Winchkin? Division 2. Oh, cool. Did you like it? I have not played either of the divisions. I've seen a little bit of Division 1 being played, but I've never seen Division 2. Thank you, Keister. I've talked about this before. Having many years of experience debating internationally, I ran into different accents constantly, right? And my attitude was always, like, if you get up and you're in a round and you're debating against someone who's like, Mr. Speaker, if you consider the options available to us, there are not many. But what they have said on their side is complete nonsense, right? If you hear that and then I'm like, Mr. Speaker, what they're saying is nonsense. Like, it sounds like the most, like Fargo, movie style accent is like, they're full of it. Nonsense is part of the... Although I was able to at least connect to it enough that I could level, while speaking, I can provide an accent that's somewhat vaguely compelling in comparison to some of the ones I saw who were literally just like, do you not realize that by doing this... I'm like, that is the least compelling accent I have ever heard in my life. Oh man, but the Australian accent is sick. You put Australians against Scots, and you stand back and watch them go in a debate. It's great. Mr. Speaker, sir, like that, and then follow with, "What's this mysterious I see about which they refer, Mr. I mean, it's great, man. And meanwhile, the Americans are like, we don't really speak. We're not interesting speaking at all." That's funny on this. Oh, he had that real Southern accent. Yeah. Some of them get real. Well, see, the thing is, part of it is that, and people who are from the South will know this and will say this, that everyone has this sort of assumption that like the South has a specific kind of accent, but it's very different, right? The Southern accent that you would get in portions of Texas is extremely different. And in Arizona, you wouldn't even note it as a Southern accent the way that you would for someone from, Alabama or rural Mississippi or even portions of Georgia and Atlanta. But that also sounds different than like Florida. And Southern Florida, like Miami, Miami-Dade County, that area, right, is going to sound different than Jacksonville. Like the Panhandle have a much different accent as well. Louisiana has got almost a kind of French twinge, a Cajun, right, twinge to it as well. So we have a tendency to just kind of reduce it all to one thing, and it's not that way, right? Yes, the 11 thing. The Wenchkin, there's a really funny thing I've showed on here before, which is this old BBC thing of that actually a former student of mine who was Scottish put me onto, which is these two Scotsmen trying to operate a voice-operated elevator, and they're just trying to get to floor 11. They're like, 11. They're like, please repeat it. And towards the end of it, they're just so angry that they're just roaring all these Scots nationalist sayings, like, up Scotland and all this. It's really, really funny. Oh my God. So funny. No, listen, I understand, Echo. I understand that. I wish I could say that I feel Norwegian. I'd rather be sometimes. Is that the 11? Okay, so we're going to say, where is this woman now? Where is this woman now, you ask, remembering the others sent off from Analand on this same quest before you. But the man only shrugs. How should I know? Probably in the belly of a snatacat or at the bottom of Lake Ilklala. Then he pales. But nothing to do with me. You can't suspect me. Okay, do we threaten this dude, or do we say, I mean you no harm? Right, Arudnell, right. So do we just tell me this in chat? Do we threaten him? Yeah, exactly. I suspect you. I don't know what to make of this guy. I feel this is like the Rob Schneider of this game, where basically like or the Joe Pesci, where you just can't trust him about anything, but like he's not exactly a bad guy really, but so yeah, no poll on this one. This one you just tell me in chat. So you're voting to threaten him. Spill it. So Geester, do you threaten him then? So do we threaten, or do we say, I mean you no harm? So threaten or no harm? Do we say like, oh, that's fascinating. Get this, old man. You will pay. Pay for your lack of vision. Threaten his butt. Threaten, he started it. Worst that happens is it's nothing. Yeah, normally I would not go along with this, but I actually feel like at this point, I'm just like, stop lying to me, sack. Threaten, this guy is super shady. Pretty much. Which he does in like 5 different movies, Hillness. No, I'm just kidding. It feels like it's not good to be a character played by Joe Pesci in any film, because bad things are going to happen. Put him to the question. Yeah. And then he was in, wasn't he in Lethal Weapon also? Wasn't he in Lethal Weapon like, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 12 or... He did okay in My Cousin Vinny. That was different. He was okay in My Cousin Vinny. There he was fine. A little Arudnell, although I don't know. That may just be because this is one of the options that's been waiting there for us. It's not like they keep saying the same thing. They gave us 4 choices, right? And we chose the other 2. So I'm going to give the game a little bit of a pass there. I don't think that's necessarily what's happening here. Okay, so we've got a bunch of threatens, and we have one I mean you no harm. All right, going once. I know what you mean, Arudnell, but I think this is okay, I think. Going once. Going twice. And okay. We are going to... Oh, okay, Steel Spawn gets in... All right, well, let me read it. Let me double check. So, Craigery says threaten. Geister says threaten. Triffid says threaten. Arudnell says threaten. And Echo says, I mean you no harm. Steel Spawn says, I mean no harm. Yeah, maybe. I leave you no arm. That's a very different meaning. What's up, Arenth? It looks like even despite that, and even if Arenth means I mean you no harm, which might be what he means, even if that's what you mean, it's still threaten him wins out. You step closer, hand at your sword hilt. Tell me why I should spare your life, you scowl. Answer me that. Of course, he pleads. I should have known better when I saw you. I knew. I thought you're a warrior. You're a wizard. I could tell. So, do we say... And yet you tried to trick me? Enough excuses. Give me everything you have. All right, what's it going to be, chat? There's your food option. You tried to trick me, enough excuses. Well, I mean, normally we try to be the good cop overall, but, like, the guy, I don't know. Basically, he freaked us out and made us waste a stamina. That's my feeling about this so far. And yet, yeah, he was messing with us. Plus, also, he's acting super... I mean, I hate to pull out Among Us language, but he is acting super sus here. Like, he is just very much like, you can't... It's not like I have 5 dead bodies behind that rock. You can't prove that I stabbed all of my former companions in the back. You know. Yeah, this one, Steel Spawn, for this one, for the vote in chat, what you can do, when we have more than 2 choices, you do $vote, all one word, space, and then the number of the choice you want. So if you want to go, and yet you tried to trick me, that's 1. So $vote, space 1. Among Us reference. I apologize. So yes, you would go $vote, space, and then the number 1 if you wanted to vote when we have an ARVBot poll up. No problem. I just want to make sure your voice was heard, Steel Spawn. I do kind of want his stuff. So do I, but I'm hoping that he gives it to us without us being forced to separate his possessions from his person, if you know what I mean. Yeah, that's true, actually. No, I was coming up from reactor. Shut up. All right, so do you want me to just, do you not want to vote Steel Spawn? Because I'm going to last call this. It looks like chat is in favor of what you want to do anyway. So it's a $ vote. Exclamation point vote is another bot, but for our bot we use $ vote. There you go. Huzzah! All right. And yet you tried to trick me? From his pocket, he produces a spiked metal disc and a yellow vial of powder. Ooh. Okay, now, interestingly, spiked metal disc. That's like a shuriken. A yellow vial of powder, I think we use for something. Let me see. I'm going to take a look and see. One of these spells uses a yellow vial of powder. Requires... I'm just zipping through here because one of these requires yellow powder. This one, Nip. The caster must cast this spell on his or her own body. The caster will then become exceedingly quick and may run, speak, think, or fight at 3 times normal speed. Useful. So that would let us cast Nip. Yeah, it was a spell component. I was just trying to remember what spell component, but now we know. So, let's see. What should we say? Do we say... What's in the vial? Can't we see what's in the vial? What's in the vial? Yellow powder. Take the disc. Take the powder. Refuses gifts. Okay, what should we do, chat? Should we ask, what's in the vial? Should we ask, take the disc? Should we take the powder, or should we refuse his gifts? I want to be like, take the disc, take the powder, also give me your food. Yeah, like in fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to say. This is one thing. I don't in any way want to direct people away from it. I am a little nervous that if we... Well, he probably won't do that. I had this image that if we say what's in the vial, that he would then suspect we're not a wizard anymore. But on the other hand, who cares? I think it's probably fine. Yeah. We probably can take both. This is probably fine. We should do both of these. We should be like, what's in the vial, then take everything. He literally does say take them. So. But go ahead and get your vote in. Yeah, the vial is the yellow powder that we use for the spell Nip. Which we can't cast at the moment because we don't have any yellow powder. So. Yeah, we know what it is. It's a spell component. Like, that's the only thing. Is that we could just take the disc and take the powder or refuse his gifts if we want to do that. We don't know what the disc is. I'm guessing that that's just a shuriken. Like, it's a throwing disc that lets us basically, like, do damage to some creature before something else is my guess. Yeah. Yeah, $ vote, Steel Spawn. Oh, you can do $ change vote space and then the one you want to do instead, Steel Spawn, and that'll change it for you. Just do $ change vote space. He could. That's actually a good point. I hadn't thought about that, Geister. I hadn't thought about that. Because he could actually do that where he could take it and then just zip, like, take off. Although he'd have to, like, it'd have to be pretty fast to do that, but... Then we flip out, and we're like, no! And we shoot a fireball at him and kill him, but it's 3 stamina to do it, so we also die. And we're like, man, this is what happens when you get into an argument in the mountains. Bad things happen. No, just all you have to do is just go $ change vote and then the number that you want to change it to. You don't have to do $ vote again. You can do what Triffid just did there. Yeah. Yeah, well, we got our head beat in by the Dark Elves and then left on a cross to basically be killed by buzzards. And then we got saved because we prayed to our god, but we still only had 4 stamina when we left. In fact, when we left, we were at 1 stamina, and we had to eat our provision to get ourselves up to 4. So, at the moment, our stamina situation is so difficult that we actually could not cast our high stamina cost spells because they cost 3. We couldn't do it. So, we're gonna have to get some food, or not some food. We do need food tomorrow, but we've eaten today. What we are gonna need to do is rest when it tells us to in a place that's relatively safe, so we can try to get our health back. I know, Hillness, right? Exactly. Okay, did I last call this already? I did not. Last call. Yeah, we have been in better health shape in the past. This is not one of those times. All right. Take the powder. You lift the vial of yellow powder to the light as you take it. It's a fine, grainy powder, the color of unchaffed wheat or pus. I don't know what it's for, he gushes. I just like the color, that's all. Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay. So now we have... It's not enough. The guy threatened us. Give us all your stuff. Tell me it's enough. Anyway, I'll let Chad make this decision. Okay. So now do we say what's in the vial, which we already said we weren't going to do. Do we take the disc? Do we refuse his gifts, or do we say that's enough? Color with a U. Yeah, because it's got that British... It's that British spelling, right? British/Canadian still spawn. Except there is no need for an extra U. Efficiency. I find that the use of U in words like color has gone out of favor. Spelled without a U. It's our color. Yes, I've seen that one. I've seen that one. That's a good one. Could be time to armor up. I love that they're gifts. Like, they're not really gifts as much as they are. These are things I give you so you don't kill me after you tried to basically freak me out and maybe rip us off in the wilderness. Yeah, I just heard from them, Echo. So there was like it's a small town from which they're shipping it, and there was a COVID outbreak because the United States everywhere, and so they meant that the post office was affected, so they mailed it today, and I actually got confirmation from Etsy that they did mail it today, but it means that it's not going to be here by tomorrow. It means that it's going to get here probably Friday or Saturday-ish. So, which is too bad, obviously, but I'll just have to let the child know. But I mean, you know, the guy wrote me to apologize, and I was like, I mean, it's whatever. Like, it's not. It's a small it's a small company, very small, and it's Etsy and whatever. So I'm not gonna, you know, yell about that. We're in a difficult spot. Yeah. So it's fine. I just sent him a nice thing saying like, hey, just wanted to see, because I hadn't heard anything. And then he was like, oh, I'm really sorry this is what happened. And I was like, okay. Yeah, exactly, Echo. Something like that. Okay, we are going to close the poll. Yeah, well, I was just saying before, Hillness, that the Forbidden Library hardcovers have been sitting in customs in the port, which is, I think, in South Carolina, North Carolina, has been sitting in customs in the port for like 30 days because they have such a backlog because of the COVID situation. So, like, it's driving us nuts because, like, we want to send these books out to people, but the coronavirus affected the printing over in Europe. It affected the distribution over in Europe to get to the shippers. It affected customs here. It's just, you know, refuses gifts. Give me more. I could see that. Right, Arudinel? See, Arudinel, you've probably seen this because I know you supported the library. So you've seen on the Kickstarter that there have been, we had over 1,000 backers for that. And we've had a couple of people, it's really about 3 to 4, 3 in particular, that have complained a lot about it. And I don't know, I totally understand the frustration. I totally understand it has nothing to do with me specifically. I didn't do this. And Alligator Alley apologized for their part of it. But to be perfectly honest, a lot of this is relating to the fact, like, we would have had these books to people months and months ago if it were not for the coronavirus situation. And so it's a little, like, I get it, but it's not like they haven't been updated or that there hasn't been information. But I know from following other Kickstarters and people that this is rough right now. Like, we are in a once-in-a-century pandemic. Like, it's not, you know... And admittedly, it would have been late even if not for the pandemic. It's just it wouldn't have been that late. I mean, it would have been something like 6-7 months after when they claimed, because of various printing things that they didn't do a lot. It wasn't really their fault, but there was a delay in art and then printing, whatever. But it is going to be over a year late in terms of actual delivery, because we ran this last year. Actually, that's not true. Is that true? That's not true. Not over a year late, no. But it's going to be later, many months later than it should have been. But that's honestly because of the pandemic. So... yeah, and I mean, and I obviously had zero to do with it because it was on the company side. But it wasn't. I would say that it's kind of like probably 30% Alligator Alley's fault, 25% maybe, and 70 to 75% like things outside our control, specifically the pandemic, and so, or the printers that we didn't control, and like, you know, so. Okay, we're going to take the disc. Anyway, I'm sorry that anyone's been delayed, and I totally appreciate all the support people have given, and I'm, you know, so. Okay, you take the metal disc. It is a chakram, he says quickly. Good for, and he demonstrates a flick of the wrist and then flinches as though something has hit him in the eye. You know. Thank you, Renfren replies, bowing his head almost to the dust. Okay, so what should we say? Now, we are looking for the 7 serpents, so let's make sure that we don't forget to ask this. What do you know of the 7 serpents? Do you live out here in the Backlands? Tell me how you conjured the Death Wraith, you piece of... no, I'm just kidding. Death Wraith. Enough talking. Okay, what should we say, chat? What do you know of the 7 serpents? Do you live out here in the Backlands? Tell me how you conjured the Death Wraith, or enough talking. What do we want to ask him? I'm unable to put you down. All right. All right, just checking 2 things while you folks are voting. I'm going to last call this. I think we'll be able to ask more of these questions than one, although obviously I can't know for sure, but I think so. Wow, this feedback on... I got another one of these responses. Sorry, I just got another one of these responses from Response is from one of my other classes. I taught 3 classes, right? I mentioned the one. So this is a comment from the Lord of the Rings one. I taught a Lord of the Rings Harry Potter course. You folks will find this funny. So Professor Wilson's super engaging with students. I really enjoyed tuning in class every week. I really enjoyed the books we had to read. None of the material was boring, which really helped because I actually looked forward to the assigned readings and didn't see it as being a burden. Professor Wilson helped me think critically and look at these books in a whole new light. I noticed things in the books I would have brushed over if it wasn't for him for Professor Wilson making us break down what happened in the book and seeing it from a different perspective. He also ignited my previous Harry Potter obsession, which is actually not beneficial to my wallet, as I purchased merch once again. I hope J.K. Rowling doesn't get a cent, though. That is the best combination. Oh, man. That's awesome. That's exactly what I want, actually. That combo is exactly what I want. This was great. I hope that she doesn't get anything. Yes, you've done your will. I know, Rudnell. And it's like, the thing is, you know already, I think, I feel bad that it's been delayed at all. Like, I mean, I a lot. Right? Like, I don't have control over that, but I feel very bad about it. And I keep, in future Kickstarters, I always try to make sure we buffer even more, but I only have limited control over how that happens. So it's not that I don't understand. I'm sorry that anyone didn't get their stuff in time. It's just that, like, some of the constant snark gets a little old, like, so anyway, yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. That's pretty much it, Gregory, yeah. Oh yeah, Kickstarter. Well, like, yeah, it's right. And like, the thing is, okay, so we're going to tell me how you conjured the Death Wraith. The thing about it is that it's always dangerous, right, to try to do everything based upon to do things based upon the feelings of the artist as opposed to the art, right? That's always dangerous. Except that I think in many cases there are suggestions that what you're looking at as the art isn't as good as you think it is, and sometimes the artist who is actively continuing to do bad things is another problem, right? Like, if you're studying someone who was a misogynist and a womanizer and did terrible things, like, that's bad and terrible, but at least you could make the argument that if they are no longer around and not actively continuing to further whatever, then you can make a little bit of a better argument for it. Because certainly when you went into older authors, a lot of them did stuff that we would not appreciate today, right? So, but not all of them, in fairness. So it doesn't always, sometimes people are like, well, it was a different time. Yeah, but not everybody acted like a jerk even back then, but whatever. But that's one thing. But when they're actively continuing to pursue anti-whatever policies, that's another problem. Like, I stopped teaching Ender's Game. This was the first semester, and I actually replaced Ender's Game with This Is How You Lose the Time War. And Amal and Max are much better people. Also, I think that book is a great book, and my students really liked it a lot. But the thing about it is, Ender's Game was a very good book for my students in a lot of ways to read, and a lot of the author's later sort of opinions are not borne out by his book, so you could just follow the book. But when you're talking about a guy who has actively raised money against LGBTQ causes, who has actively worked to oppose same-sex marriages and things like this that are directly harmful to friends of mine, to people that I care about, then at a certain point that scale just gets tilted, and I'm like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. And so I stopped teaching Ender's Game. Sorry. It's my right. I don't think that people should not be allowed to read the book because of its author's views, but I don't have to teach it. And so even though it was a work that worked well with the science fiction course, took it out. And the same thing applies to several other books that I've done that with. And so I'm very close to making that same decision with J.K. Rowling also. even though the Harry Potter combination book has been useful with Lord of the Rings, but frankly, I may end up just teaching Lord of the Rings because I think Lord of the Rings is a better book, is a better series of books. B, I think as valuable as Harry Potter can be to study in some ways, she just won't stop. Like she just keeps coming up with worse and worse takes on things, and eventually I'm just kind of like, no, stop. Like, what do you? So I don't know. I haven't reached that point completely. I haven't decided. I don't have to make this decision until probably July. But I am definitely, for the next few months, going to be seriously contemplating whether I want to keep teaching those books. And by the way, that doesn't mean that anyone can't read them and enjoy them. Same thing with Ender's Game. Don't in any way feel that this means that I'm saying if you read those books, you're terrible. But not at all. But I don't have to teach. I don't have to teach them, and I don't have to send more sales the way of these people, and I don't have to kind of talk about them in academic contexts. I don't have to do that. So, you know. But that's the thing, though, Miranda. This isn't just political correctness. Like, it's more than that. This is people who are actively working to harm people that I care about. Right? So that's a different thing. That's not... Political correctness to me, and I'm not saying you're using it this way, but in America, political correctness often gets used as a hand-waved term for people that say things that I don't like. That's not what political correctness is. Political correctness means, in the way that people should be using it, people who are speaking in a way that will be less harmful to other people in general. I am not in favor of getting rid of all language that could be considered problematic. I think you have to do it on a case-by-case basis. I think there are some cases where I don't agree with certain language changes or removals based upon lots of things, linguistic study and other things. So I don't always do this. But I do think that if you can use words that, if words have different meaning now, and they're generally accepted to have that particular kind of meaning, then don't use the words if they're harmful. And so that's the thing. Like, in his case, it's not even just language. It's active fundraising and advocacy against things which are hurting other people. That's all. And there's plenty of art, as Craig Reed just said. There's plenty of art to be written by people that don't say things like this. And again, this is not saying that, again, I'm not talking about small stuff. Like, for example, I happen to really like the work of Hergé. We're going to get back to the game in a second, by the way. I just thought this was interesting. I'm very much into the Tintin books. I've always really liked those. My daughter read those, right? I like the Tintin books. Hergé had serious issues with the way that he represented race, particularly in his first few books. Tintin in the Congo is an incredibly racist book that is just wrong on all levels. And the difference there is that Hergé admitted when he got older, he realized that how racist he had been. He realized it was terrible. He repudiated that. And he ended up writing a series of books that were actually virulently anti-racist. The Red Sea Sharks, for example, is a very anti-slavery message at a time when most of the people in Europe didn't have this same feeling that he did. The Tintin in Tibet is a very strongly anti-racist position, especially towards Tibetans, and tries to distinguish between Tibetans and Chinese and how the Chinese are not all this way either. In his earlier books, The Blue Lotus, he also had these kind of racist stereotypes towards either Chinese or Japanese, which he repudiated right around the same time as Tintin in the Congo, same time, which he then later repudiated in Tintin in Tibet. So I can now read those books and feel that he understood and actively spoke about his own mistakes that he had made and how what he had done was wrong, and worked to advocate against that for the rest of his life. And that means that I can read those books and feel much better about them, right? And feel like this is a guy who made changes. Now, if he had been hit by a meteor in his 30s and the only books that we had from him were Tintin in the Congo and Tintin in America and the books that had racial content that was problematic, then I wouldn't, once I realized that's what was going on, I wouldn't be able to study them and feel good about myself, right? But that's not the way that his life went. So as long as J.K. Rowling continues to go down this transphobic path, as long as Orson Scott Card continues to advocate against gay marriage, against gay rights, and pretend that he's not doing that, I'm not, so. Right. Exactly, Triffin. And that's well said, yeah. Yep. Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. So that's the thing. It's different from people who change and evolve as opposed to those who basically double down on bigotry. And ultimately, your life is going to be determined by the way that you acted and operated. And when you have a platform like that, you got to be careful. That doesn't mean that people don't say things that can disagree with. And I'm not talking about people who are conservative with whom I disagree, right? I'm pretty liberal. And so I'm going to disagree with conservatives on most political positions, but I'm not going to remove or repudiate or say you can't be part of this unless you advocate for, say, fascism, right? The marketplace of ideas does not apply to you when you want the marketplace to go away, when you say that there are people that shouldn't be in the marketplace. If you say, I want to be able to debate with everybody, you need to be tolerant of my opinions, but your opinion literally is that certain people should not be considered people and should be removed as a consequence, then I don't have to acknowledge your opinion. I don't have to listen to it. I don't have to approve it. I don't have to open up a marketplace for you because you would flip the tables in the market and say that some of the people who are selling their ideas, to extend this metaphor, don't belong there. And that's where I get off the train. So the marketplace of ideas, freedom of speech does not mean freedom of consequence. If you say things that are repugnant, yes, you have the right to say them. I also have the right not to associate with you or buy your stuff or spend time with you. That's the free market, my dude. Right? So that's the thing about this. I don't repudiate conservative opinions. I don't repudiate people's right to have conservative opinions. And if people who are here who are more moderate or conservative, cool. That's fine. The only time it's not fine is when you actively advocate positions of hate that are attempting to literally deperson people by saying this person shouldn't be allowed, this person shouldn't be allowed, not because of their beliefs, but because of who they fundamentally are. This person is gay, so I don't want to pay attention to them. This person is trans, I don't want to pay attention to them. This person is non-binary, I don't want to pay attention to them. No. That I can't accept here. So it's the difference between the acceptance of others and their ideas and their right to speak and the people that are actively harming a community. And I don't think that's a difficult line to draw. So, anyway, that's my thoughts. All right. Tell me how you conjured the Death Wraith, is what we said. Close poll. Hey, what's up, Invisible Womans? Hello. Hello, Invisible Womans. Tell me how you conjured your Death Wraith, you demand. Unless you are very much mistaken, this man is no sorcerer. He shrugs. Oh, it's just a thing I learned to do. It's all smoke and mirrors, you know. When does the book club meet? We, at Craigery, if you like this kind of stuff, we have chats like this quite a bit. Although, I do want to specify, I especially now because everybody is so, like, raw because of what's going on in the country. The focus of this channel is not explicitly political, right? And so in the Discord, for example, we've banned politics discussion for the most part, just because I can't be monitoring it and the mods can't be monitoring all the time. We don't have enough staff to do that. So I don't want to be in a situation where there can be harm done or there can be refereeing that needs to be done and I'm not there to do it. But on stream, and the focus of what we do here is story and narrative and community building, right? The three watchwords are community, compassion, and communication. Those are the three things. Community, compassion, and communication are the three words. And so that's what we do on this channel. So a lot of times, most of the time, we'll be just playing games, and we'll be playing D&D, or we'll be playing Esper Genesis, or Adventures of Middle-earth, or Sound Clash, The Clampdown, or, you know, stuff like that. Or we'll be doing video games like this. And most of the time, I won't be spending as much time talking about this. But there are times when subjects come up that I do think it's important, and it's not just important for those of us who are talking. It's important for those of us who are lurking. It's important for those of us who are going to watch the VOD later on YouTube, right? It's for the people that don't talk that I want to be able to make clear where the community stands. I want them to know that we care about them, whether or not we're talking to them directly. Because the problem that sometimes you run into in some Twitch channels is that people will be like, oh, ignore the trolls, ignore this, ignore that. But the problem is that if you let that language stay out there and fester, then people who are not speaking get the idea that this is a community where it's okay to say ABC, which means either they will go and do it themselves if they're inclined to be possibly mean towards others, or if they feel they're being targeted, they will go away because they don't feel safe. And so I want to provide a place where this is available. Now, that does not mean that we can't have a discussion where we disagree. It does mean that we can't have a discussion where we don't acknowledge the other person's right to exist. And please note, there's a difference between someone saying, I'm advocating for Nazi fascistic policies, and you're not being tolerant of them, because one cannot be tolerant of a position that is based fundamentally on the idea that some people should not exist. And fundamentally, fascism suggests that some people should not exist. That is not a position on which we can reasonably disagree. That is a situation where you either believe people should exist or you don't. You either believe people deserve respect or you don't. Now, beyond that, what the policy is, whether you think that we should give more in welfare or less because you think X, Y, and Z, those are political positions. My belief, I tend to be more left of center. I'm generally more left of center in most things. And so my tendency is going to be to believe that we should be doing much more to support people financially. We should be doing much more to help the poor, to reduce child poverty. These are things I believe, but I'm not going to tell you you're an awful human being if you think that we should go about those things in different ways. I am, however, going to tell you that you don't belong here if your belief is that poor people did it to themselves and should not exist. That is something I will not allow. So that's the distinction I think that we're talking about here. Right, Arudnell. I'm doing well, Invisible Womans, I am. I'm doing well. And that's exactly it, Arudnell. That's exactly it. It's representation matters. Acknowledgement matters. And so that's what I want to do. It's something I try to do with my students also. I want to acknowledge that it's there, even if they don't come out and say it. Because I've often felt that I was gifted through luck, fortune, genetics, my parents, whatever, not only with privilege that I just happen to have it, but I also was lucky enough that I can hopefully articulate myself somewhat clearly and that I can communicate well. And I always felt that it was my responsibility to try to communicate in a way that brings people together to the extent that I can. And you do that not with false calls for unity, when you've just had a situation where you were trying to advocate for the violent removal of people that do not agree with your political position, right? Unity does not mean hang out with those people because whatever. It means accountability, justice, and then bringing people together. I do believe in forgiveness, but forgiveness must follow accountability. And so what we do on this channel is a lot of some of the same thing. If you have a different political view, no problem if you express it. If you have a view, the end point of which is remove these people because they're not people, gays, lesbians, non-binary, people of color, young people, old people, Jews, Catholics, atheists, Buddhists, Zoroastrians, Muslims. You see what I'm getting at? Eventually everyone gets subdivided into a group that you would like to have removed. And so that is not true unity. If you're advocating for that, the removal of one of those groups, not welcome here. But if you have a different opinion about how to go about integration, sign me up. Hey, what's up, Regnar? Oh, you didn't walk into anything. Sorry, Regnar. I was just explaining some things. Nobody was doing anything bad. I was just explaining some things because every so often it's good to kind of get my thoughts down on paper, video, maybe. And this does tend to happen when certain authors come up. That's true. What's up, Regnar? Sorry, I was just expressing something that came up. We're just playing. We're hanging out. Okay. Where was I? Yes, and also we don't have a lot longer to play, so I've been a bad boy because I keep being interested in what we're talking about. All right, let's not do that. No more interest in what we're talking about. Okay, tell me how you conjure the death rate. All right, so this is what we're doing. I apologize that I took so long to get to this point. All right, what should we say? Raisin lovers, right. Those people must be removed from the... No, I'm just kidding. No, if you like raisins, it's fine. It's okay to be wrong about things. That doesn't mean you're a terrible person. It just means you're wrong. It's like people, who like tomatoes. That's okay. You're not an awful human being. You just made a mistake, and that's fine with me. Give me 1 sec still, Spawn. Sorry. Okay, so he's like, oh, it's just something I learned to do. So show me your mirror. Where did you learn? Or demonstrate. Like, there are people out there. I enjoy raisin oatmeal cookies. That's okay. Listen, Hilness, Hilness, you're a great guy. You know that I have great admiration for you. You're a great dude. You're just wrong about that, and that's okay. Listen, I mean, I'm sure some people would say that I am wrong to be a fan of the Boston Red Sox. Those people are wrong to think that I'm wrong, but it's okay, different strokes. My daughter actually the other day, Hilness, I think this was last week, made oatmeal cookies, and she came in proudly to tell me they were made without raisins. They were delicious. Oatmeal cookies without raisins. Does the Bible not say, love the raisin lover, hate the raisin? Forgive me, Father, for I have raisined. We're all raised on raisins. I used to like raisins too, Steel Spawn, but when I was little, but I just don't like them now. And I especially don't like them when they're hidden in other things. I even ate a box of raisins as a Kickstarter thing. It even happened once. It's okay, Mrs. Dunsel. Listen, Mrs. Dunsel, you know how much I like you. You and Commander Dunsel are great people. It's okay to be wrong about stuff. And, someday you will realize the emptiness in your life that is the Yankees fan part of your life, and that's okay. I think I told you this story, Mrs. Dunsel, but I was here teaching at St. John's here in New York in 2003. And so I was there 2003, and I was here, obviously, 2004. So 2003, the Red Sox lose to the Yankees again in the playoffs, right? And so it's just miserable, right? I know, you see it the other way around, I know. In 2004, we have the epic greatest collapse in the history of playoffs where the Yankees lost 3-0 lead to the Red Sox. And the Red Sox winning one of the greatest championships of all time. I think we all remember that. The bloody sock, etc. And so the Red Sox win. And so I came into my classroom, and I know I've told this story many times before. I'm going to repeat it because it's one of my favorite stories. Came into the classroom the next day, and I wrote on the board. Didn't say anything to my class. They all knew I was a Red Sox fan. I came in. I wrote up on the board, 1918, crossed it out, and wrote in 2004 and underlined it. So the class had two reactions. Half the class was like this because they were Yankee fans, right? The other half of the class was like this. Literally, I had students standing up and applauding because they're Mets fans. And the one thing that Mets and Red Sox fans can agree on is that the Yankees are wrong. It was the best. It was the best way to tell. And then there were people, I guess there were a couple of people who didn't care at all. But the Mets fans, clapping, cracked me up. It was so funny. And I deserved that. Listen, I've been a Red Sox fan since 1985. I deserved, after 20 years at that point of misery, having the chance to actually celebrate a championship. It was great. It was really funny. Soak them in alcohol, you enjoy them more. Actually, Steel Spawn, that raisin was soaked in alcohol thing was used in a, of all things, Roald Dahl book. Speaking of a guy who wasn't a great guy, but was a fine children's book author. He was strange. He was complex, Roald Dahl. Anyway, Danny the Champion of the World, they catch quail by having them eat these raisins because they get drunk and then they're easier to catch. For some reason, that's always stuck with me. I don't know why, that book, but... What are you a fan of, Regnar? See, here's my thing about that, though, Regnar. My theory is that, San Diego fans, here's a good example, San Diego Padres fans, are not real fans because why would you bother to care about a sports team when you live in San Diego? Your weather is constantly 75, low humidity, and sunny, and you can just go to the beach. You're like, my team lost. Oh, well, I guess I'll go to the beach, right? You need to be in a place where it sucks during the winter. Oh, man. What's your team right now, Geister? Okay, last call on this, then show me your mirror. What's your team? I keep calling it and it's Geister. I know that. The Pirates? Okay, I'll say this, though. As a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I always have kind of had a soft spot in my heart for the Pirates. Plus, the Pirates had Roberto Clemente. So, Pittsburgh are legit fans, for sure. They are completely legit fans. And also, to be fair, in Pittsburgh, not only do you have the Steelers, you also have the Penguins. So it's not like Pittsburgh is hurting for winners, okay? You have Sidney Crosby, one of the great players of all time. You had Mario Lemieux. I mean, you have the Penguins and... Oh, yeah. But you have the Penguins and the Steelers, though. 6 championships for the Steelers. How many championships have the Penguins won? Haven't they won 4? 5? I mean, you have a lot of championships. I know the Pirates have had a rough dry spot, but Panel Raisin. I know, Miranda. It's been too slow. Okay, we're going to close this up. I know, I've just been too much interesting conversation. Okay, show me your mirror. Of course, he replies. You step back a little and I'll show you my apparatus. It's in the ground, you see. What? Do we step back or do we stay put? What do you mean you step back a little, I'll show you my apparatus? Tell me this in chat. Chat, step back or stay put. I call BS on this, though. I'm just telling you right now. This seems not... What? I don't know. Manchester United has 20 championships. Well, yeah, like the Yankees have like a billion championships. Because when you have $1 billion, you can buy a bunch of... I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Mrs. Dunsel. I'm just kidding. All the love. No, yeah, Man U's been great. Man U's great. See, the thing is, for football, soccer, I guess Americans would call it, for that, I guess I'm theoretically should be a Liverpool fan because the Red Sox own them, but I just kind of like watching World Cup soccer, honestly, and sometimes the English Premier League's fun to watch, but I don't really have a team, I have to say. It's true. You don't need money to win. You can also cheat. Exactly. See, the thing is, people get mad when I say this as a Red Sox fan about the Yankees and the money, because they're like, you have a load of money. And I'm like, but I'm not having this argument with a Kansas City Royals fan, right? Like, if I'm a Royals fan, I have no right to say to a Royals fan that the Yankees spend too much money, because the Red Sox have a lot of money too. But I can say it to a Yankees fan because the Yankees spend more money than anybody. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about, Still Spawn. Exactly. Okay, so step back from his apparatus. 3 step back, stay put. So 3 step back, 1 stay put. Stomp around to destroy apparatus. Does that mean we should stay put, Triffid? 3 step back, 2 stay put. I guess that's true. It's just the whole, like, you don't really hit that much with your foot. There is some use of feet. It's just not as much comparatively. They could call it handball. Okay, so we have 3 step back and 2 stay put. Anyone else? 3 step back and 2 stay put. Anyone else? 3 step back, 3 stay put. We're tied up. The Man U owners are cheapskates, Dragon? Really? I'm feeling pretty relaxed. 3 step back, 3 stay put. Fair enough. This may be the last decision that we make. At least this is the last encounter, because I do need to get ready for D&D on GOG in about 35 minutes or so. So, he's a tricksy one, it's true. 3 step back, 3 stay put. I need someone to break this tie. 3 step back, 3 stay put. Mrs. Dunsel says stay. All right. Going once. Going twice. All right. Hey, Wobbly Lobster. Stay put. You shake your head. I've seen the illusion, you reply. I want to see how it works. Of course. He thinks for a moment, then shrugs. I can't do it, though. It's a natural phenomenon, really. It only works here and only at certain times. Sorry. And he folds his arms. All right. That gives us 3 options that are left. We can say... Do we say, what do you know of the 7 serpents? Do we say, do you live out here in the back lands? Or enough talking? And let's get this vote in quickly, folks, so that we can... because I got to wrap up here pretty quickly. So let's get these votes in as fast as we can. And also, good to see you, Wobbly Lobster. Local team here is the A's, not like they have money. Well, yeah, for years they've been the whole Moneyball thing, right? I have a good friend of mine, Ragnar, is a big Oakland A fan. I hear what you're saying, Rudnell. You don't have these feelings about baseball, do you, Rudnell? Good to be seen out of the pot. Yeah, I think this is a good call. We're going to last call this. This is what I would ask him to. What do you know of the 7 serpents? I don't care where the hell the guy lives. I mean, I might care if that's the last thing to ask him. All right. I'm going to close this poll because it seems clear everyone wants this. What do you know of the 7 serpents, you ask? The man's eyes open wide. 7 serpents? Nods violently. Oh, yes, of course. I know the serpents. I know all of them. All 7. Okay. Do we say, where are they, or what can you tell me about them? I will say that we do have some clues about their weaknesses already, but we only know about where one of them is, theoretically. But so, where are they, or what can you tell me about them? And this is just tell me in chat. This is no poll. Just tell me in chat. Where are they, or what can you tell me about them? Yeah, this guy is, I know. This guy has been full of crap from the very beginning, but he gave us yellow powder and a freaking shuriken, so... Where or what can you tell me? All right, I have one for each. Where? Tell me, tell me, tell me. Where? Tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me. Where? Tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me. Tell me. All right, sounds like everyone's in favor of tell me. Okay, what can you tell me about them? Oh, he replies vaguely, waving a hand skywards. You know, they fly around, don't they? Really? All right, chat. Do we say so they have wings or have you seen them? Again, you can tell me this in chat. So they have wings or have you seen them? Tell me, have you seen them? Have you seen them? Have you seen them? Have you seen them? Seen them? Seen them? Okay. Chat seems in favor of seen them. I have one so they have wings, and then I have a bunch for have you seen them? All right, going once. Twice. Have you seen them? Oh, yes. And he nods vigorously. I see them quite often. Oh, all the time. I've had them over for tea. All right. Do we say, what else do you know, or you're lying to me? My friend, 7 serpents. How are you? What else do you know or lying? Lying, lying. What else? Lying, lying, lying. What else? Lying, 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 lying. 4 lyings, 1 what else? Just, unless he's one of the serpents. Yeah, but either way, Geester, we need to call him out. I mean, like, he would still be lying, right, in a way? I mean, well, no, I guess if he is one of the serpents. He's acting really weird if he's one of the serpents, though. Like, yeah. He's acting really strangely, like... I know. I wonder what happens, though, Rudenell, if we just call him out like this. Okay, it sounds like Chad is in favor of lying. You're lying to me. The man flinches, expecting to be hit. Oh, all right, he admits. I don't know anything about any serpents. Aha! Okay, do you live out here in the Backlands or enough talking? What do we say on this chat? Do you live out here in the Backlands or enough talking? It's true. It could be the weak serpent. So do you live out here in the Backlands or enough talking? So I have 1 for do you keep living? Where do you live? And 2 for enough. 3 for live, 2 for enough. 4 for live, 5 for live, 2 for enough. 6 for live, 2 for enough. 7 for live, 2 for enough. Uh-oh. Oh, I hear Mini-Arv upset. Okay, so it sounds like, do you live out here in the Backlands? You ask, looking around the wilderness. He begins to weep. I used to be a sailor. My captain was a brute. We landed ashore and I ran off into the wasteland and I've been wandering them ever since. This place is cursed. Do you know that? You think you've reached the edge and then somehow you find yourself back where you've started. It's like the ground itself was built in spirals. He waggles his finger in the air, round and round. Suddenly the man's eyes turn upwards and his voice trails off into a low moan. A moment later he is keeled over. Something, it seems, has frightened him to death. You whip round but catch sight only of something moving up the slope of the mountain. Well, that escalated quickly. This is a good place to stop, chat, because that right there is going to be the serpent. So we are going to face our first serpent the next time. Next one is Micro Arv. The next one is Sir not appearing in this picture, Arv, because we are done. Aaron, we got 2. All right, chat. So good stop with 3 stamina. I know it. We at least have to figure out what we're doing, Hilness. Like, maybe we can throw stuff, cast spell. I don't know. Like, I mean, we'll have to make that decision because, yeah, I know, it's bad, I know. Very dangerous, I agree. But we will have to make that decision at a later point. So, we did make some improvements. We did get more details, and we got a shuriken. Sorry, I know that it's loud. A chakram, a spiked throwing disc. Good. Okay. Thank you for the follow, Steel Spawn. I appreciate it. And that, folks, unfortunately is going to do it for today. So when we play next time, we will have a choice. We will either have to go across the plains, where we haven't been yet, go downhill where we came from, which might not be the best idea, or go up to face the serpent. And Marinda makes a good point. We might have to take our Blimberry Juice potion, which would restore 4 stamina, even though that means we would use up our Dock potion, because that way we would have enough stamina to have a somewhat of a chance against the Moon Serpent, because we do know that it's deadly afraid of fire. Or we could go down across the plains, try to find a place to rest before we deal with the Moon Serpent. So we'll have to figure what that is to the next time we play, which is not going to be until sometime next week, but we will figure that out at a later point. But that means, folks, that we are done for today. I hope you folks enjoyed yourselves, because I certainly did. At least we're done here. And we do have this coming up, which is that. Now is the time, chat. I'm going to give you like 2 minutes to do this, because I've already had this vote up for a week. So now is the time to get in your final votes for the game of the week. I'm going to be playing this Friday. I'm going to be playing either World of Goo, Growlancer 2, or Time Spinner. So just go over there, click on the one that you want, and then you will... What's up, Eclipse? And then you will... I will abide by the will of chat. Any of these games are fine. We have 8 votes for World of Goo, 5 for Growlancer 2, and 2 for Time Spinner. So get your votes in now at that straw poll link. I'm going to close this down in just about 1 minute. While I'm waiting, I will tell you all that I'm going to be over at GOG in less than a half hour with D&D with GOG Storm King's Thunder, as we continue our D&D adventure with the crew of Pyron Jade and Tasty Chai and Darksaber 2K and Peripheral Mike. So we will continue there. And as a reminder, next week, not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday, we will be debuting over on the channel Talisman on the GOG channel, Talisman Adventures, which is the all-new game based on the Talisman board game that is a tabletop role-playing game. Pegasus Spiele is sponsoring this campaign of mine. GOG.com has agreed to host it, and so the same group of players that I just mentioned is going to be playing that next week. It'll be a little mini-campaign, very cool, new, and different system. We will have Talisman-related giveaways and stuff like that, so you will not want to miss next week. It'll be a good time. You won't want to miss this week either, but I wanted to mention that that's what's happening. As far as our channel, we have got this going on, as I said, over on GOG at 4 p.m. Eastern. Then tomorrow we'll be back on this channel at 9 p.m. Eastern with the amazing Shadow crew that will have Shadow Mage as your DM, and then you'll have Triffity Mats, Rock God, Hoodie, and of course Echo Alpha X5 playing Dragon of Icespire Peak. That'll be happening with our community D&D tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, we have got our vocalists with Paper Mario the Origami King, which will be a lot of fun. And then Friday, we are playing this game that we're looking at right here. And then Saturday, we will be playing the debut of Metroid Prime for Wii U. So it's going to be awesome. So it'll be good times. I promise not to. I do not make that promise, Gregory. I make no such promise, sir. But I promise I won't spend long and embarrassing you. But I will spend a minute being like, this person's awesome. I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to be... So yes. Yeah, Talisman it's going to be great. I'm really excited for it. So, anyway, that is the deal with that. All right. And as we're looking at this, going once, going twice, World of Goo is the winner. All right. So I'm going to be playing World of Goo. I've never played it before. but everyone, told me that World of Goo is great. Trendane will be happy because he's nominated it like 5 times. So World of Goo has won. I will be playing World of Goo on Friday. If you like what you saw and heard, please make sure to follow the channel. Please check out my, as Steel Spawn was nice enough to do, please check out our YouTube with !ArvTube. I'm trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers over there. It's free, but it really helps me out. And you can see past broadcasts of this and other streams. !ArvCord is the Discord channel where you can hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams. !ArvTweets is my Twitter, where I always post when I'm going live and stuff like that. My website is arvaneleron.com. On the financial side, !ArvShop is the merchandise area where you can get stuff related to Adventures of Middle-earth and Infinity and Beyond, which supports the channel. !ArvTreon is the Patreon right there. That's really the financial backbone of the channel. You can get some awesome things like custom, you can get a character background written for you by me of a character that you send to me. You can get an epic poem written about you. You can get a copy of one of my band's albums. You can even get a critique of your writing done at a high enough level. And as the numbers overall for that support go higher, we can do things as a channel as well. So all of that is really appreciated if you can jump on board there. You can also get inspirations to inspire our players across every month of tabletop campaigns. And if you sub to the channel, you also get custom sub badges and emotes and inspirations for the players and stuff like that as well. On the publishing side, Icarus for my Icarus graphic novel from Athos Arts. More details about future books in that series potentially coming soon. More details about Athos in general coming soon. Library, Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, my 5e adventure and source book from Alligator Alley Entertainment. As I said, print edition is here in the States. We just have to get there. It just has to come out of customs and go be shipped out to places. We're waiting for that to happen, but it's here in the States. It just needs to go out to people. But you can get it in digital form right now on DriveThru RPG, which is awesome, and if you're able to support that way. And Grayshade KS, which is my Grayshade Kickstarter. More details about this tabletop, board game, novel, and audiobook very coming soon. More details about that Kickstarter, which is going to be happening sometime within the next month or so. More details about that when we have that date nailed down. Finally, last but certainly not least, we have got BLM, Black Lives Matter, the importance of and significance of asserting and affirming that Black Lives Matter, and Help Now, which is the awesome, my pleasure. Thank you, Still Spawn. Thank you, Craigery, for being here. See you soon. Thank you again for all the work on DLAD's fundraiser. What did I say? Help Now, which is the suicide prevention page on the World Health Organization. Again, in a very difficult time for so many people, being able to reach out to others to help them, or just as important, being able to reach out to others when you need help is something which is really important, and we hope that that page will be of value and that you'll reach out to us as members of the community. Otherwise, I'm going to head over to GOG. No raid today. Thank you so much to my wonderful viewers. Thank you to my wonderful mods, Best in the Business, Arudinel, Dragonspear, Hillness, and Triffity Mats. Thank you to my wonderful subscribers, Arudinel, Dragonspear, Hillness, Triffity Mats, Echo Alpha X5, Nonstop, Craigery, Arendt, and Mrs. Dunsel. Echo, thanks again for gifting a sub to Craigery today. Thank you so much to my wonderful viewers, Abba Costello, another TT viewer. Oh, thanks to the Patreon supporters in that group as well, by the way. Thank you, Dragon. I appreciate it, man. Thank you to Abba Costello, another TT viewer, Biohazard, Commander Root, EA, Eclipse, ECAG, Galadriel Bot, totally not a bot. Thank you to Geester. Thank you to Have This, to Invisible Woman. Thank you to Joint Effort. Thank you to Leoric. Thank you to Marinda, Rake, Silly Gnome, Steel Spawn, Tontoms, TNS Mephiston, VNK, and Wenchkin. Thanks again for the raid, Wenchkin. Thanks, everyone. You were all the best. Much love, and I will see you folks over on GOG.com in about 20 minutes or so for D&D with GOG Storm King's Thunder. Till then, everyone be good to each other. Have a good one.